One of the first things I like to do when I'm designing is to create a color palette. And so here's a tutorial how it's easy to create a color palette in Photoshop. We'll start by saying File, New, and I'm going to just call this Palette. And the preset here, I can just use the default Photoshop size, which is 7 by 5 inches. And I'm going to change the resolution to 72 since you'll be posting these online in your student folder. The background contents will be white at this point, and I'll say OK. So here's the beginnings. Now I don't have to choose white. I could go down and choose another color. Let's say I want to choose black. I can choose black. Or I can just choose the quick black and white picker. I'm going to use my shape layer, in this case a rectangular tool. And up here in the option bar, I'm going to go ahead and, let's see, I'm going to choose a light yellow. So here's the first thing I want you to see. Notice that the contrast between the yellow and the white is not as great as it could be. If I go ahead and choose this to a darker color, such as a dark blue, in this case kind of a navy blue, you'll notice that it has a really high contrast and is easy to see. Again, on the background color, if I select it and I choose my paint bucket tool, which is hiding underneath or next to the gradient tool, I can click this background. Now you'll notice the dark blue and the black have very little contrast. So we always try to go for a good contrast color. What's nice about these shape layers is that any time I can click it and change my color palette. Now just because you have one color in this blue, it doesn't mean that you can't also use a variation of that same blue. In this case, how about a lighter version? And then I might choose a complementary color, in this case, and more of an orange color. And I'll just try another variation. Now I could go lighter, or I could just add a little more brightness into it and make it more of a golden tone. And then also, if I want to, I can choose my text color. Let's say I'm going to just go ahead and go with black for my text. And here I'm going to put my title across. Perhaps this will be Safe Playground Equipment. Okay. I'm going to click the OK, the check mark, to say I'm committing to that. But this is kind of boring. If this is Playground, I would want to find something more interesting. So with my text tool selected, I'm going to come up here, scroll to the very, very top of all my text. I will highlight this box so there's a little light blue, and using my down arrow, I can easily go through every different typeface that's on my machine. Once I find something I really like, then let's say I like this rounded, Arial rounded. I want to make a notation of that on my thing right here. Let's get rid of that. And I'll say OK, but then I'm going to just press down and scroll on this and make it a little smaller. This helps me remember what it is. Now let's say I don't like any of the fonts. You can download custom fonts. Websites such as dafont.com are an excellent source because you're able to search different types of fonts, and you can also try 1001 Free Fonts. That's another website that offers free to use for students who are non-commercial. These different fonts. I can do a search here. Maybe I want to find something that's more like school because it's having to do with children. So I can look here and, oh, I like this one, kindergarten. That's really cute. Perfect. I just need to click download. And I'm going to go ahead and save the file. It's going to want me to unzip it. I've gone ahead and opened it in WinZip. You'll notice it's a TrueType font, which is the kind of font it is. I will open it, and you'll see that it has a button here. It shows a preview of it, and I'm going to click Install. It's actually installing it in my font drawer, ready to use. The hard part is you just have to remember the name. So I'm going to click on my Safe Playground equipment, and I'll choose K for kindergarten. And there it is right there. I think that's a fabulous font. The other thing I need to think about is that font going to be thick enough? If it's not, I go to Window, Character, and I choose the faux bold. If there's not a bold available, in this case it just says the default medium and it's grayed out, I can't change it. I can use my faux bold down here. You'll notice that it makes it look a lot bolder. There's also a fold italic, uppercase, lowercase, and then a subscript, superscript, underline, and strike through. But this will work great. And then I have to say, you know, do I like this color? I can always change it up here by changing it to maybe that dark blue. And there's my information. I need to change the name on that. The other thing I'd like you to put down besides your colors and the font name, I would like you also to put some, find some clip art and copy down the URL so you can use it again. You go into the internet and look for clip art that is free to use. Here's a website I found, clipartpanda.com. It has lots of different images that are free to use for art projects, websites, even PowerPoints. Perfect for us. So I'm going to come down and find something. I kind of like these little guys here. Wow, that is really low resolution. It's only 100 by 100 pixels, that's why. That's going to be a little bit too low. Let me see. Oh, here's one that's nice. This will be good for my playground. And it's a much higher resolution here. I would click download, or in this case I'm going to just copy the image by right-clicking and copying. I'm going to go ahead and paste it. And there it is. It looks like it might have had an embedded color on that. Control T, or it would be Apple Command T, and I can hold the Shift key to get the size the same. We want the size on the top and the sides to remain the same ratio, and so it doesn't change and distort the image. So for now, I'm going to put that, and we always make a record of where we're getting things like this so we can use it in the future. And say OK. And once it's okayed, I can make it a little smaller, enough so you can read it. There it is. I'd find a couple of things like that I can put there. And it gives an idea of what I want my information to look like on my poster or in a pamphlet. I might find some other images that are similar. Oh, I like that. That's kind of fun. Okay, and I'm going to just copy it from here and paste. The idea is to get an idea, is just to give an impression of what your website might look like based on the colors and the imagery. All right, there's my palette, and it's ready to turn in. So I'll save as palette. I always like to save a version that is my PSD, the Photoshop document with all my layers. And then I will save as and change it from the Photoshop type to a JPEG file format, and I'll click Save. This is a compression. I like to leave it around high. 8 is a good number, and I'll say OK. This will be easy to use as a source. I can change colors by just clicking on my palette, and while I'm working on other things, I can tell what font I'm using and also where I'm getting some of my clip art. So the palette is a good way to form a basis for your designs.